Greetings. In this tutorial, I'm going to teach you how to start making a modular set for games. So I already have everything set up from before, render setup. My render is scanline renderer. Most importantly though, customize unit setup. My system unit setup is 1 unit equals 1 centimeter. This is crucially important because we're going to start building modular items to go into a game engine, and we want them to be able to snap together. And so we should be working with 1 unit equaling 1 centimeter. So all of my units are set up appropriately. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to click in perspective to make my perspective view active. And I'm going to go to the create panel if I'm not there already. Click on box and I'm going to open keyboard entry. Now I'm going to make my box 400 by 400 by 400 units. That's length, width, and height. I'm going to hit create here in the perspective view. I'm just going to hit Z to zoom out. And now I can go to the bottom right, not that one, but the one above it, and click zoom extents all. That'll zoom out in every viewport. All right, so there's our box. Let's go ahead and add a FFD 2x2x2. It looks like I clicked 5 FFD 3x3x3. Let's fix that real quick. Configure modifier sets. Let's do FFD. All right, because we are going to need this FFD 2x2x2 a lot. So I'm going to put him on there. Open that up, go into the control points. I'm going to zoom out here in the top view. So let's region select to grab this top row, go to move, and down here in the menu bar, I'm going to move the Y value to 400. Oops, 400. Grab this bottom row, put that at 0. Grab this top right, put that at 400, and then this value at 0. So now everything exists up here in this positive X and Y space. Here in the front, there we go, there's our basic sides for it. Now, what we want to do is we're going to start by making a corridor set. And we don't want our corridor to be clipping with the walls that we make. So let's bring everything in. So here in the front view, I'm going to come down here to the bottom and turn on absolute mode type in. And I'm going to reduce the distance that it's coming in here from the wall. All right, so what I want to do, as I said, I want to make sure that it's not completely clipping. So I'm going to bring this in -40, right? So it's 40 units down. Let's bring it in from the right side here. We'll bring that in, -40. And then we'll bring it in from the left side, 40 units. So let's right click on this guy and say convert edit poly. You see our origin, right? We're set to pivot point center. The origin is down here in the corner, which is what we want. And you can see the sides from the front, right? It's inset from that 400 unit grid. But here in the top view, it lines up perfectly with this 0 value and the 400 value. And so if we clone this as an instance, and let's just move it up, you can see how it's going to make a straight line. Now, it doesn't look like a corridor, it just looks like a box. Let's change that real quick. I'm going to go to display, and I'm going to find the rollout for backface cull and turn that on. And now let's also make sure we have edged faces on. And now I can come in here and go into element mode. I'm going to make sure I'm in select so I don't accidentally click and move anything, but I'm going to click on the main polygon and click flip. So now it's inside out. If I go into polygon, I can click on this polygon in the back and hit delete. And if I just orbit around, I can click on this polygon in the back and hit delete. So now we see how it's like a little tunnel going through. And if I had turned on backface cull for this other example in the back, you would see that as well. So let's just delete that one. All right, so here's my corridor piece. So let's name it. We're going to call this straight, because this is our straight hallway piece. So let's go in here. We're going to right click and we're going to clone, but this guy we want to clone it as a reference, and we're going to call it corner. and say OK. So because it's a reference, we have this bold area, and then there's this blue line, and we're just going to drop a symmetry on there. And you can see the symmetry is right above it. So 2022, it's different from previous versions. We're going to want to change this to the default of Y, or actually, I think we want it on X. There we go. Let's go down to the mirror plane, and we're going to go to rotate, and turn on our angle snap. And here in the top view, we're going to right click to make it active. I'm just going to rotate this. If you're looking down at the Z value in your status bar, you want to rotate it 45 degrees, and that's going to give you your corner. All right. So now we have our corner piece. Let's right click on the symmetry modifier and say copy. I'm going to right click and say hide selected. I'm going to click on the straight piece over here, and once again right click, clone on it, and we're going to call this intersection 3, so int 3, and hit OK. I'm going to right click up here and say paste, and look at that. I brought over those same symmetry, so I have that corner, but now we just put another symmetry on top of that and change that to the X value, turn off Z, just have it on X only. And we'll go into the mirror plane, and this time we're going to go into move, and we kind of want to have it in the center, so I'm going to turn off absolute type in. This should definitely be at 200, but we need to flip the axis it's on. All right, so if I just come over here and I can hide that straight piece, we can orbit around and you can see, there we go. That's our intersection, or three-way intersection. So I can select both of these symmetries and copy both of them, and we're going to keep selecting and copying them. There's that straight piece. I could just right click on it and say clone right there and call this cap, because this will be a cap piece. And let's make him visible. And I can right click and paste those modifiers in, but just turn off the flip. See, now now we have a dead end piece here. So let's hide him, go back to our straight piece. I'm going to right click and clone him again, and this will be our int _4 for our four-way intersection. And we can hide the straight again, and now we'll just paste those modifiers back on. All right, there's our three-way intersection. Let's put one more symmetry, but this time we're going to set it to Y. I turned off Z and turned on Y. Now let's go into the subobject again, and I'm going to move this up, so this should sit at 200 on the Y-axis, and we just need to turn on the flip again. And you can see here, as I orbit around, there's our four-way intersection. So at this point, we have all of our different pieces. If I click over here, let's unhide all of them. So I can take them and just kind of, oops, I don't want to be in that subobject anymore. Let's turn that off. But now I can move each of my different pieces. Now, when we're done, we're going to want to have all them centered there at 0. I definitely want to keep my straight piece at 0. Because what I'm going to do is, if you look at them, they're very plain. Or if I click on this box and select it, I can say auto smooth to smooth it out, but you're still seeing it shade between those different pieces. What's great is you can go back in and you can add additional geometry and modify these pieces. So let's do that. Let's see how that works, because this guy, as long as we don't, if you right click and say convert to edit poly, that'll stay in edit poly. But if you right click here and say convert to edit poly, it's going to break it. It will no longer be an instance. So don't do that. You want to make sure that in here we're going to be collapsing things inside here. So what I'm going to do here is, let's go into edge mode, and we'll go back out to the full view. I'm going to region select, because I want to get the sides here, nothing else. And I'm just going to open up the connect settings. I'm going to set it to 2, and then let's increase our pinch to like 80, maybe. Yeah, that looks good. And hit OK. Now we got this extra geometry. You see that changes happen across all of them. I can also come in here and in polygon, I'm going to region select right here in the middle. Now I have the one polygon on the right and the one on the left. If we're adding details, as long as it doesn't come up in past this line where they're supposed to connect together, we have this bit of space to play with here. We can extrude that, let's say negative 12. There we go. Yep, I like that. Keep that. It's got a little bit of molding. Now, when we connect the pieces together, this little element right here is going to be something that we'll accidentally be clicking on. So I'm just going to region select right here. So I have that and delete that. It's kind of that really thin one polygon. We don't want that. So get rid of that guy. And let's go into Edge. And I'm just going to click on, oh, let's make sure we're in Select because I don't want to accidentally click and move anything. Click on him and him, orbit around, top, oops, top. All right, because I really just want these 4 edges. I don't want them to be perfectly straight. I want to get a little bit of interest going here. I'm going to open up chamfer and chamfer it to a value of, let's say, 5. Let's just do 2.5, but we'll decrease that from a 1 to a 0, and click OK. So now we orbit around. You can see our different pieces. They all have that little detail on them. So let's wrap this up by selecting our model and saying auto smooth. So now it's gone through and it's smoothed out those pieces of geo. So at this point we have the start of our modular kit, right? And we don't want to be collapsing anything yet. So we do want to take all these though and zero them out. Right, their origins are down here in the corner, which is perfect. That's exactly what we want. So what we'll do at this point is save it, and you're going to take a screenshot just showing me it'd be nice if the Scene Explorer was there as well as your models, right? And you could, we'll just probably just double check what I have posted as an example of what I want you to be showing when you take the snip, but just last name, first initial, underscore, mod kit. So there you go.